Welcome to a story that changed the course of human history. A story of a man who was born with nothing, raised in pain, surrounded by enemies, and forgotten by the world. Yet one day, his name would make kings tremble, empires collapse, and continents bow. This is not just a story of war. This is the story of survival. This is the story of power. This is the story of a man who rose from the cold steppes of Mongolia to become the most feared ruler the world has ever known. His name was Genghis Khan. Before he became a legend, before he became a conqueror, he was just a broken child fighting to stay alive. And this is where his story begins. Long before the world knew his name, Genghis Khan was known as Temujin. He was born around the year 1162 in the harsh lands of Mongolia, where survival itself was a daily battle. This was a world of endless grasslands, brutal winters, and violent tribes that trusted no one. Temujin was not born into power. He was born into struggle. His father was a tribal leader, respected but not powerful. When Temujin was still a child, his father was poisoned by rival tribes. In one moment, his world collapsed. The tribe that once followed his family abandoned them. His mother, his brothers, and his sisters were thrown out into the wilderness. No protection, no food, no shelter. They were left to die. Temujin's childhood was filled with hunger, fear, and pain. He learned early that kindness was rare and survival was everything. Every day was a test of strength and will. There were times when his family ate roots and wild plants just to stay alive. Sometimes they hunted small animals. Sometimes they had nothing. But inside Temujin, something was growing. Not fear, not weakness, but an unbreakable determination. Even as a boy, he showed leadership. He protected his family. He made hard decisions. He learned how to fight. He learned how to think. One day, Temujin was captured by enemies and chained like an animal. Most boys would have accepted their fate. Temujin did not. He escaped. That escape changed him forever. It taught him that no cage was unbreakable. No enemy was unstoppable. He was no longer just a survivor. He was becoming a warrior. As he grew older, Temujin understood one truth. In his world, only the strong were respected. Only the feared were safe. So he made a promise to himself. He would never be powerless again. He would never be abandoned again. He would rise so high that no one would dare betray him. This broken child of the Mongolian plains was slowly transforming into something far greater. The world did not know it yet, but history was about to be rewritten, and Temujin was going to write it in fire and blood. Temujin grew into a man shaped by hardship. He was not rich. He was not powerful, but he was fearless. In a world where loyalty was rare and betrayal was common, Temujin understood one thing. To survive, he needed allies. To rise, he needed warriors who believed in him. He began by forming small bonds with people who were also rejected by powerful tribes. Men who had nothing to lose. Men who wanted respect. Men who wanted purpose. And like other leaders, Temujin did not choose followers based on blood or family. He chose them based on loyalty and strength. This was revolutionary, and it made him different from every other chief. Slowly, his name started spreading across the plains. Not as a prince, not as a noble, but as a man who rewarded loyalty and punished betrayal. Temujin married a woman named Berta. She became his strength and his motivation. But soon after their marriage, tragedy struck again. Berta was kidnapped by a rival tribe. For Temujin, this was not just a personal loss. It was a declaration of war. He gathered his small group of warriors and went after her. This was his first true battle, and he won. He rescued Berta. But more importantly, he proved something to the world. Temujin was no longer a boy running from danger. He was a man who chased it. After this victory, more warriors joined him. His army grew, his confidence grew, his ambition grew. Temujin began attacking weaker tribes, not with chaos, but with planning, with discipline, With intelligence, he treated his soldiers like brothers. He shared food. He shared rewards. He shared victories. This created something new, a brotherhood of warriors who would die for him. But success always creates enemies. Old tribal leaders feared him. They saw his methods as a threat to their traditions. They tried to destroy him. Temujin was captured once again, bound and imprisoned. But just like before, he escaped. This second escape made his legend stronger. People began to whisper his name with respect. Some with fear, some with hope. Temujin understood now that small battles were not enough. To change his destiny, he had to change the system. He had to unite the tribes or destroy them. There was no middle path. The lonely boy who once hunted for roots to survive was now commanding warriors. The hunted was becoming the hunter. His rise had begun, and nothing was going to stop it. Temujin now understood that power did not come from one battle. Power came from unity, and unity came from trust. The Mongolian land was divided into many tribes. Each tribe fought for itself. Each tribe believed it was superior, and this endless division kept them weak. Temujin wanted to change that. He did not promise luxury. He did not promise comfort. He promised fairness. He promised respect. He promised that loyalty would be rewarded and betrayal would be punished. For many warriors, this was something new. In their world, bloodlines decided everything. But Temujin decided by ability and courage. Slowly, tribes began to notice him. Some joined him willingly. Some resisted. Some laughed at him. Those who joined him became stronger. Those who opposed him were defeated. Battle by battle, his army grew, not just in size, but in discipline. His soldiers followed strict rules. No stealing from civilians. No betrayal among brothers. No mercy for traitors. This made his army different from any other force in the region. Temujin also changed how wars were fought. He used speed. He used surprise. He used strategy instead of brute force. His enemies often did not even realize they were under attack until it was too late. One by one, the tribes fell. Some surrendered. Some were destroyed. Some were absorbed into his growing army. With every victory, Temujin's name became heavier, not just as a warrior, but as a leader who could shape the future. At last, something historic happened. The Mongol tribes gathered together, not to fight, but to choose a supreme leader. For the first time in history, the tribes stood united, and they chose Temujin. He was given a new name, a name that would echo through centuries. Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. This was not just a title, it was a declaration. From that moment, he was no longer fighting for survival. He was fighting to rule the world. The broken child had become the leader of an entire nation. The survivor had become a conqueror, and the storm he created was about to cross borders. The world beyond Mongolia had no idea what was coming, but history was about to change forever. Now Genghis Khan looked beyond Mongolia. The tribes were united. The army was disciplined. The warriors were loyal, but unity alone was not enough. He wanted expansion. He wanted power that no one could challenge. The world outside Mongolia was rich and divided. Great kingdoms existed, but they were slow. They were proud. They underestimated him. Genghis Khan did not rush into war. First, he sent messengers. He offered peace. He offered trade. He offered respect. But when his messengers were insulted and killed, he took it as a declaration of war. This was the moment everything changed. He gathered his generals and his warriors. Not with anger, but with calm determination. He said that betrayal would never be forgiven, and disrespect would be answered with power. His army moved like the wind, fast, silent, unstoppable. Cities that had never known fear began to panic. Walls that had stood for centuries began to fall. But Genghis Khan did not rule only with destruction. He ruled with intelligence. If a city surrendered, its people were spared. Its knowledge was protected. Its craftsmen were honored. If a city resisted, it was erased from history. This strategy broke the spirit of his enemies. Fear spread faster than his army. Kings surrendered without battle. Empires collapsed without war. His soldiers followed strict discipline. They did not fight for chaos. They fought for order. Genghis Khan promoted talent, Not bloodlines, not status, only skill. A poor man could become a general. A slave could become a leader. This made his army stronger than any empire. From China to Central Asia, his banners moved forward. The world had never seen such speed, such coordination, such unstoppable force. He was no longer just a conqueror. He was shaping a new world. The man who once struggled for food was now deciding the fate of civilizations. And the world was beginning to understand one truth. Genghis Khan was not coming to rule a nation. He was coming to rule history. Genghis Khan had become more than a king. He had become a force of nature. Where his army moved, the world changed. Some saw him as a savior. Some saw him as a monster. But no one could ignore him. His name alone was enough to make cities surrender. Walls that once symbolized strength now meant nothing. Fear traveled faster than his soldiers. But this fear was not random. It was controlled. It was calculated. Genghis Khan understood human psychology. He knew that one powerful lesson could prevent 100 future battles. If a city resisted, it faced destruction. If a city surrendered, it was protected. This rule was simple, and it was respected. Because of this, many cities opened their gates without a fight. Not because they were weak, but because they were smart. Inside his empire, law and order existed. Stealing was punished. Betrayal was punished. Loyalty was rewarded. He created a system where everyone was equal under law. Whether poor or rich, whether soldier or general, justice was the same. This was revolutionary. Genghis Khan promoted talent, not bloodline, not status, only ability. A shepherd could become a commander. A prisoner could become a leader. This gave hope to ordinary people and loyalty to his army. His empire grew faster than any empire in history. From East Asia to Europe, from deserts to mountains, from villages to great cities. His banners rose everywhere, but power always has a dark side. Millions lost their lives. Civilizations were erased. Cultures were broken. History still debates him. Was he a hero or was he a destroyer? The truth is, he was both. He brought order and he brought terror. He united lands and he drowned them in blood. This is why his story is unforgettable. This is why his name still echoes. Genghis Khan was no longer a man. He had become a legend of fear and power. After conquering much of the known world, Genghis Khan became older but never weaker in spirit. His body carried the scars of countless battles, but his mind remained sharp. He did not live in luxury. He did not build golden palaces. He lived like a warrior, simple, focused, unbreakable, even at an age when most kings would rest. He was still leading campaigns, still riding with his army, still shaping history. But time respects no conqueror. During a campaign against the Western Xia kingdom, Genghis Khan fell ill. Some say he was injured in battle. Some say he became sick from exhaustion. Some say it was fate. The truth remains unknown. But one thing is certain. The man who had ruled through fear and vision, the man who had changed the map of the world, was now facing his final moment. Before his death, he gave one last order. His burial must remain secret. No palace, no monument, no golden tomb, just silence. His soldiers carried his body away into the mountains. They erased every path. They removed every witness. Even today, no one knows where Genghis Khan is buried. The greatest conqueror in history left the world without a trace. But his legacy did not die. His empire became the largest land empire the world had ever seen. His laws influenced future civilizations. His system of merit changed leadership forever. Trade routes expanded. Knowledge traveled. East and West connected. He destroyed, but he also connected. He was brutal, but he was brilliant. He was feared, but he was respected. Genghis Khan proved one powerful truth. A man born with nothing can rise to rule everything. From a starving child to a ruler of nations, from a hunted boy to the master of the world. His body vanished, but his story became immortal, and history will never forget the name. Genghis Khan did not leave behind a crown. He left behind a warning and a lesson. He showed the world that power is not given. It is taken with courage, with vision, with sacrifice. He proved that a man born in darkness can rise to command the light, but he also proved something else. Power without mercy creates fear. Power without wisdom creates destruction. His life teaches us that greatness is dangerous, and danger is unforgettable. Some remember him as a hero, some remember him as a monster, but history remembers him as unstoppable. He reshaped nations, he changed borders, he rewrote the future. No king before him ruled such land. No army before him moved so fast. No empire before him grew so large. Yet in the end, he was just a man who once starved, a man who once was hunted, a man who refused to stay weak. That is why his story still lives. That is why his name still commands respect. That is why his shadow still walks through history. Genghis Khan reminds us that a single life can change the fate of millions. A single decision can shape centuries. A single soul can shake the world. And that is why he will never be forgotten. This was not just the story of a conqueror. This was the story of human will. Genghis Khan showed the world that limits are created by fear, and fear can be broken. He started with nothing. No power, no protection, no future. But he created his own destiny. His life reminds us that history is not written by comfort. It is written by courage. Not by those who wait, but by those who move. Not by those who accept weakness, but by those who challenge it. Genghis Khan was not born great. He became great through pain, through struggle, through unstoppable belief. And that is the real message of his story. If a boy abandoned in the wilderness can rise to rule the world, then no dream is too big, no beginning is too small, and no future is impossible. This is why his name still lives. This is why his story still inspires. This is why his legend will never fade. Because some lives do not end. They become history. And now the story comes to an end. But the echo of his life will never fade. Genghis Khan was not just a ruler. He was a reminder of what the human spirit can become. When it refuses to surrender, he was born weak. He was raised in pain. But he died as a legend. His journey tells us that your beginning does not decide your ending. Your struggle does not define your limits. Your past does not control your future. What matters is your will, your courage, and your refusal to stay broken. If his story moved you, if his rise inspired you, then remember this: greatness is not inherited, it is created. Through patience, through sacrifice, through belief. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for listening to this legendary story. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories that shake history, stories that awaken power, stories that change the way you see the world, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep exploring the legends that shaped humanity. And now the story comes to an end, but the echo of his life will never fade. Genghis Khan was not just a ruler. He was a reminder of what the human spirit can become. When it refuses to surrender, he was born weak. He was raised in pain. But he died as a legend. His journey tells us that your beginning does not decide your ending. Your struggle does not define your limits. Your past does not control your future. What matters is your will, your courage, and your refusal to stay broken. If his story moved you, if his rise inspired you, then remember this: greatness is not inherited, it is created. Through patience, through sacrifice, through belief. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for listening to this legendary story. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories that shake history, stories that awaken power, stories that change the way you see the world, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep exploring the legends that shaped humanity. And with that, our story comes to an end. But the echoes of history never truly fade. If you enjoyed this story, if you found this journey inspiring, and if you want to hear more powerful, real, and mind-blowing tales from history, then make sure to subscribe to our channel. This channel doesn't just share videos, it brings history to life. It uncovers stories that have shaped the world. Subscribe now, like this video, and share it with your friends, so more people can witness these incredible stories. We'll see you in the next epic historical journey. Until then, stay inspired and stay connected to history.